am live. Okay, so for anyone, I'm clueless that I'm live. I had some technology where it dropped me and I tried to go live again. And so anyways, I'm sorry. I'm going to start back where I started from. So I'm basically coming live once a month on Facebook to talk about Ayurveda and to introduce this beautiful science to the world. It's my passion. It resides deep within my heart. And I feel like there's a wealth of gold to be shared and to be learned from Ayurveda. So thanks for taking a moment to listen to me. I know that immunity is of vital importance to everyone right now with the virus. And so I'm going to speak about this concept called Ojas in Ayurveda. And Ojas basically means that we have deep immunity within our body. And we know that this is important right now because if you have an autoimmune disorder or heart disease or diabetes, then you are at risk for getting the virus. And we now know that even people who might be healthy or seemingly healthy can also get the virus. So we're seeing even young people are getting it. We also know that over 50% of the people in our country or more are obese, are at risk for diabetes if they don't already have diabetes, and high blood pressure. And we have a large percentage of the population, about a quarter of women have an autoimmune disease. Hypothyroid disorder is really big. So we have over 50% of our population at risk based on lifestyle factors and environmental factors and genetics. So it's interesting because if you look at the statistics of the virus, it's now shown that, like, even though the US has been proactive in taking caution to quarantine and to have separation, yet the virus has spread quite rapidly. So people have asked me, what can they do to build up their immunity from an Ayurvedic perspective? So natural antivirals, herbs, and there are a few things that you can do in the present moment to build up Ojas in your body. But Ojas is something that takes a super long time to protect and to nurture and to build. And so, you know, immunity is not built overnight. It's something that takes a long time. And so that's really what I wanted to speak about today. And what I was saying before my last live was dropped is that from an Ayurvedic perspective, if you have weak digestion or you don't have a strong digestion fire, which is like Ayurveda 101, if you have a low digestive fire, meaning that you could have like a really high raging digestive fire, meaning you have like diarrhea or heartburn or GERD, and that would not be healthy. You could also have stagnation or constipation. So the foundation of immunity from an Ayurvedic perspective starts in the gut. And it is like, if you were to build a home, it's the foundation of your house. And from there, once you have strong digestion, if you don't, let's talk about the reverse. If you don't have strong digestion, then what you have is the opposite of Agni, or strong digestive fire, and it's called Ama. And Ama is toxicity in the body. And all of us are really vulnerable to having Ama right now, not just because of lifestyle factors, but because there's pollution in our air, there's, you know, pollution in our food and in our water. And so we're being exposed to man-made chemicals day in and day out that actually put an added burden on our system for us to even in our best case scenario, trying to have a strong immune system, we have a lot of added burdens on our system that we never had before. So, so it's important that this digestive fire stays strong pretty much always, to get to Ojas, or deep immunity. So if you have Ama, or toxicity in the body, our body is wise and it doesn't want toxicity in the major organs of the body. That would make us very sick. So what our body does to protect us from toxins is it puts them nicely and stores them in our fat cells or fat tissue, and it will guard us from, and it will continue to put toxins in our fat tissue. And so that way we're safeguarded. So alma can be built up in the body for a very long period of time, and it prevents us from having a strong immune system. The second way to build up immunity in the body is to constantly have a strong rasa and rakta dhatus, which is basically the blood and the lymphatic system. So when our lymphatic system is congested, or toxins are not being eliminated out of our body through our digestive tract, then we have weak immunity. And so now we've gone through a few layers of tissues of the body. And what I can say from an Ayurvedic perspective is the majority of the population doesn't have really good digestion. And furthermore, very few people understand the importance of the lymphatic system and lymphatic drainage and cleaning out the sludge that's in our rasa and rakta dhatu. So if we're not doing that, then when a virus comes along, we're exposed. And so our skin is literally the largest organ in our body. And our stomach has a mucosal lining. It has its own skin. And when that barrier is broken down, which is now people know this term leaky gut, then the toxins leak into the system of our body. And so basically, you have to constantly be working on digestion, and you have to be working on lymphatic drainage to have a strong immune system. From there, I won't go into the minutia of all of the different layers of the body, but basically to get to a strong immune system, you have to go 7 layers deep into the body, into 7 different layers or tissues of the body to build up Ojas. And even then that gets to what is called what we know as the reproductive system. And Ojas is like the eighth tissue, but it's not a tissue. It's basically a refined substance. You can think of it like our mitochondria, the strength of our DNA. And it's that point that you have a strong immune system. Now, it takes about 30 days to restore the gut lining. That's why diets like Whole30 are so effective, and people have now learned about them, because you build up within that 30 days, you build up the mucosal lining of the gut. For each tissue of the body, it said it takes 30 days to build that tissue up. So you take 7 times 30, and you're looking at approximately, to build up immunity in the body, a full year-long commitment of eating properly, exercising, breathing, meditation, all of this again being yogic and Ayurvedic philosophy. So the long or short of it, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is that immunity is a long-term lifestyle shift. And so if something like this were ever to happen again, if you really wanted to protect yourself, then you would have to look at long-term lifestyle factors or decisions. I'm starting actually, I felt well, let me step back to the concept of Ojas. So Ojas is related to, in Ayurveda, there's 5 great elements that influence the systems of the body, and they're earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And Ojas is related to earth and water, to stability within the body. Ojas is also related to Kapha dosha. Well, wouldn't you know it, right now we are in Kapha season, where the earth and water element is more dense. So to explain this to you, we're in spring, and what happens in the spring, it rains a lot, and there's a lot of moisture in the air. Well, this is the time that our body goes through a natural cleansing process to cleanse out any inflammation or any stagnation in the body that was built up through the winter months when we ate more dense foods to protect ourselves. So it's natural that in the winter, we eat soups and stews and potatoes and anything that would be preserved in the winter to get us through, because there's no winter harvest. So come spring, our body wants to actually let go of the ama from the fat cells, and it wants to go through a cleansing process. Well, if you look at new biology and you look at viruses, and there's some great people out there that are researching how our body restores itself, how we get into anti-aging. One of the theories is that we get viruses, colds, and flus as a way for survival, because if we didn't get these things, our body wouldn't go through a cleansing process. So a way to explain this to you would be, if you were to get a flu, what happens in your body? You get a fever, your body temperature rises, you start to sweat, you may shake, and you have no hunger. So your digestion completely turns off. And at that point, you have to hydrate, and you literally have to fast and basically shed toxicity. So a lot of times when people get the flu, they may lose 5 pounds because they've gone through a natural detoxification process. So there is a lot of scientific, biological, new biology theory that we go through these waves of getting colds and flus and viruses to cleanse the body. But at the end of it, what happens is we create antibodies that protect our immune system from the next round of something that comes through. So I liken this to chickenpox. If you've had chickenpox as a child, then you're protected from getting chickenpox as an adult, which we know if you were to get chickenpox as an adult, that at that point your immune system's weaker and the chickenpox symptoms are way more severe. Now, I'm not inviting you to go out and get COVID-19. What I am explaining is that the body goes through a natural process of detoxification. So I have been experiencing this in my own body right now, stagnant digestion. And when I taught my yoga class this morning, I worked on our digestive fire to get the heart rate up and to get the fire burning strong, to get the Agni or digestive fire strong. So that's like, again, foundational Ayurveda. Let me see where I am on time because I don't want this to go too long. So in Ayurveda, because you have this density of the water and earth element, in order to cleanse the tissues and the ama from the body, most people would get allergies, colds, flus. The immune system would want to flush all of that out of the body. And so from an Ayurvedic perspective, this is the time when you want to cleanse the tissues of the body. It's the perfect time of the year to release all of that toxicity, all of that inflammation that has been built up through the winter time. So that when you come to the spring and summer, when the spring and summer harvest comes, you can then enjoy the bounty of the spring and summer harvest foods. So anyway, so from an Ayurvedic perspective, you want to do a spring cleanse, and that can last depending on how strong or weak your immune system is. You want to first build up strength within the body before you deplete it. So Ayurvedic cleansing is not, it's not an intense, uncomfortable fasting where you deprive yourself and you feel weak and you have a blood sugar crash. And just the opposite, you take deep care to build up ojas in your body. So you turn to meditation, you turn to breath work, you turn to sleep, and in an Ayurveda it's called panchakarma, and you do this over a 30-day period. Most people don't have the luxury to carve out 30 days for panchakarma cleanse, but it's actually, we're now in a great place to cleanse because we're at home and we're not having to rush from our jobs, and most of us have to stay home and not go into work right now. So this is a beautiful time to restore and to renew and to collect ourselves and to ground and to work on our digestion. So I am starting my cleanse, and I am offering it to the public starting April 14th. So if you're interested in joining my cleanse, please reach out to me, or you can go to my website at www.love-yourself.com, and that's LUV, and click on courses and you'll find my spring cleanse. But I'm not here to market my spring cleanse today. I'm really here to talk about immunity. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this got you curious around understanding that immunity is a long-term lifestyle choice. The other thing, that I offer is a 10-week course to teach you how to build up Ojas within the body, along with my cleanse. And for those who go into my cleanse and go into my end of April, or actually mid-May 10-week, the Alchemy and Art of Loving Yourself program, the cleanse is included. So that's just if you're interested in immunity and you're interested in lifestyle and you're interested in a long-term process, then I offer that. The other thing that I really wanted to mention about Ojas before I end this live webinar is that Ojas is not just related in an Ayurvedic perspective just to the physical body. Ojas is also related to the stability of the mind. And so one of the things that I've been talking about is my mantra right now is faith over fear. Because as soon as we have fear, we have, it has a direct effect on our root chakra, and our root chakra is where we feel stable. And the minute that we lose that ability to feel stable, there's a cascade of emotions, mental emotions, that have an energetic and biochemical effect on the body. So we go into the fight or flight, we increase our cortisol, and we release all the stress hormones in our system, and that will not help us build up immunity. So what I invite you to think about is that this is hitting us all right now in the root chakra, because if you're like me, your possibly business is shut down, or you may be a person that reports to a business that you can no longer report to. And I know people are scrambling right now to apply for unemployment, to provide for aid to keep their businesses open. And I know that many people are calling and can't even get anyone on the phone to even say apply for unemployment, because there's just so much demand right now. So if you are one of those people where this hits you in the root chakra, your stability, your ability to feel safe and secure in the world, then I invite you to really, really focus on faith over fear, and focus on how you can create stability around you mentally. You may have a lot on the line right now, and the more privileged you are, then the less it will affect your root chakra. But the less privileged you are, and for those people who live paycheck to paycheck, then you're more at risk for the coronavirus. You're more at risk for the coronavirus because as soon as fear kicks in, it affects your root chakra, it affects your stability, and it starts in the subtle, the mental realm, and then it affects the gross, the physical body. So faith over fear, meditation, breath work, grounding, anything that you can do to find stability is super, super important right now. So, to end this final part of the webinar, while talking about hand washing and quarantining or staying home, keeping 6 feet distance if you go to the grocery store, I want you to think about how much deep sleep, how much food, and how much mental stability will build up your immunity over the long term and keep you safe in the days ahead. So thank you so very much for joining my brief webinar today. If you have any questions for me about Ayurveda, or you're interested in learning more, then I have 2 offerings coming up: my spring cleanse, and in May, my 10-week, the Alchemy and Art of Loving Yourself, to build up deep immunity and Ojas in the body, and to teach you how to do that over the long haul. Thank you so much. I'm going to end this now. Namaste.